I have 6 o'clock. It's time to call to order the Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting of Tuesday, July 13th. All commissioners are present except for our newest commissioner, Jesse Deaver, who unexpectedly has an excused absence. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, Jesus, right behind me. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're on item number 4, which is the citizen comment period. Do we have anybody that signed up? No. Nobody signed up for the citizen comment period, so we can move to business item number 5. And the following items are open for discussion, consideration, and action. We'll start out with the approval of the minutes from the June 8th meeting. I trust that my co-commissioners have had time to peruse and read through the minutes and have submitted any changes necessary to the city secretary or assistant city secretary. I'll entertain a motion for approval of these minutes at this time. New guy.
I move that we approve the minutes for the June 8th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting.
Okay. I have a motion. I need a second for that motion for approval of the minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for approval of the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No, it's unanimous. The minutes are approved. We can move right into business item 5B. Things open for discussion, discussions, reports, and updates. We're going to start out with the items applicable to the Planning and Zoning Commission that were discussed at the July City Council meeting. The only thing I can think of that was applicable was approval by the City Council of our recommendation to have new Commissioner Jesse Deaver, Mr. Jesse Deaver, appointed to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Did I miss anything else?
Yes.
What?
David Dyer.
Oh, the other thing was a follow-on of that, although I was going to cover that in 210, was Commissioner David Dyer. Was it Dyer? Dyer. Commissioner David Dyer was automatically terminated from the Planning and Zoning Commission, having exceeded 5 absences in 1 year. He let the city and the commission know that was pretty much unavoidable, and he did wait until he knew we had somebody to fill that slot, or at least apply for that slot, before he went through with it. But we wish him the best. It was a pleasure serving with him. I hope he stops in and peeks at us every once in a while. It gives us some feedback. Anything else that got past me? Ms. Kane, you can think anything else? Nothing really jumps out at me. 5B2 I have on the agenda. Update on items discussed during the neighborhood meeting / presentation, which was hosted by Quick Trip, who has a proposal for the intersection of FM 2252 and FM 3009. A small presentation, as I understand it, was given here in the city with by word of mouth on Nextdoor and some of the other social media accounts, and I think disseminated somewhat through the presidents of the Homeowners Association. I myself did not attend, so I'm not sure what all happened. Did any of my co-commissioners attend? and speak to it, get to speak to it. I see some head shaking. Did you know about it? You didn't know about it. You knew about it, didn't you? And I apologize. Well, it was a gray area that I couldn't talk to you guys about it because you're on the commission. But if you lived in my neighborhood, I would have got in touch with you, and I could have told you about it. Karen, can you fill us in? Was there anything pertinent that we can share before they even come to planning and zoning?
Actually, it turned into I think the people that went were like this at first, but the more they gave the information, I think people started kind of opening up to the idea that this very well could happen. There were a lot of questions that they fielded, but I think the one thing that I wasn't really sure of is in their message that went out, they said that they are allowed to place that convenience store and gas station in that area because right now it's neighborhood services. Is that correct? Okay, and they are allowed to be there. So then my question was going to be, is that by special use permit, or would they only come to us if there was a variance? Because it didn't look like they were going to ask for a variance.
They should be asking most likely for 3 variances.
Oh,
We are currently under our current zoning ordinance. So that is what is applying to this project. They will be coming before planning and zoning. The property is zoned neighborhood services.
right.
Mr. Overman had that property zoned several years back to neighborhood services. I suspect that to be receiving their master plan submittal by the end of this week. So very soon, y'all may see their master plan on your meeting in August. It all depends on if there's some things if the package and everything is administratively complete before it comes to the commission.
Okay.
But it is an allowable use, and it was also an allowable use in the new ordinance.
Yeah, I made sure I checked on that too.
I would like to ask the city attorney, since we've discussed it now at planning and zoning preliminarily, I have 2 commissioners that don't know anything about it other than what we just said. As a homeowners president, as homeowners association president, would it be appropriate for me to forward that to them now? Could I send them what I have that everybody else, every other citizen got in the city?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll send that to you guys. I'll forward it to you guys so you know more of what we're talking about. It was
I
just.
am familiar with the proposal.
Okay.
But like, it's cute, Quick Trip.
Yeah.
But as far as the details, I
There
wasn't
weren't a whole
aware of
lot
the
of
meeting.
details there. They did have a schematic, a couple of schematic things that I thought were well done. But I was tied up otherwise and didn't get a chance to go. But it won't preclude them having a public hearing when the time comes. It won't preclude them having to get special use permits and variances and stuff. But I thought the way it was disseminated was questionable at first, and then I said, well, it's within their right to do that and get ahead of things. But apparently not everybody had access to it, and we can catch you up, so to speak.
One of the things too that I didn't ask, because I thought, oh, maybe I shouldn't ask this, but my initial thought was, besides the fact is, do we need another gas station in this area? But why would Quick Trip want to spend the kind of money that it looks like they're going to spend to put that into place when you have a quick trip, what, a mile and a half down the road across from HEB? If there was only the one over on Lookout, then I might understand, but, and somebody did ask the question about how much, and maybe Councilwoman Bauer can correct me if I say this incorrectly. Someone asked about how much revenue they thought they might make. Maybe, I don't know if it was in the first year or something, but they said something like 60,000? Did I get that wrong? I just didn't get that. I mean, I was just like, what? So, I don't know. Did you remember that?
Nothing about revenue in the first year. I must have missed that particular
Yeah, 'cause I was,
Secondhand information I got from talking to one of my neighbors after the fact was, I thought it was worded, the revenue that the city might get from taxes
oh, okay, maybe that was it.
was expected to be 60,000 the
60,000.
first year. That's the way I understood it. I may be wrong. I may be wrong. The other thing, we had discussion, somebody I had a discussion with had actually gone to the trouble, and it wasn't myself, of driving up and down 3009 between here and the other Quick Trip, and there's 8 gas stations.
Yeah, oh, yes, there's,
Eight gas
that's
stations.
just on 300.
And I said to myself, of course, I know nothing about business analysis and all that kind of stuff. Apparently, somebody's got the wrong algorithms, or they see the traffic being enough to support another gas station. And the reason I hesitated was because you got Santico's Entertainment Center right next to Envo's Entertainment Center. And I said, I mean, certainly those people had to do some kind of research. Why would you build 2 big entertainment centers right within a block of each other? So I said, what do I know? That's the way I looked at it. But anyway, gentlemen, I'll send those things forward to you. Anybody else want to discuss anything else about the presentation? Well, we can move then to 5B, 2, update on 2252 sewer project and the text.fm 2252 expansion. And I apologize,
That's 3,
I'm sorry,
it's number 3.
that's number 3?
Yeah.
No, it's number 2 on mine.
Okay.
Oh, I'm looking at the minutes, I'm sorry. Jesus, push them out of the way. Number 3, the update on FM 2252 sewer project and text.fm 2252 expansion. And I apologize to the city secretary, I apologize to the city assistant secretary, I apologize to the city attorney, I apologize to the city manager that we have to lead this on the agenda from month to month, but we've had a little turnover, and we're trying to get everybody up to speed. I know what you're going to say. Some of the rest of us know what you're going to say, but for the new guys, we may have to go over a little bit. In our packet, I think you may have asked last time, Mr. Hill, about the sewer project, and they included a map, which is very, very informative in our packet, so we can visualize exactly where this sewer project is going to run. I'm sure everybody's taking a look at it. I found it enlightening. I had a couple of questions, but I'll defer to my left to start with if there's any questions. Art or Karen? Well, you guys are the old heads. You guys already know and have heard it before. I'll go to my right. Jacquemin or Mr. Hill?
I do have one. I appreciate the map, very detailed and much better than the previous one, I will say. But I do have a question, and I think we've talked about this before. I know you show the line being on Nacogdoches Loop, but will eventually, I guess, once those properties come in with the development of FM 2252 from Back Cave Road to 2250, to 3009, eventually there'll be a sewer line there as development comes in, right?
Development's going to dictate
That,
that part.
okay.
of the sewer line actually on FM 2252, basically from NACO Loop down to 3009. Developers are going to either have to pull the line or participate in some sort of reimbursement to get those lines installed, but development is going to dictate when the other part will be installed.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a very similar question. Is the end of the line, according to here, it's sheet 14, is that going to service the, what do we call it, the southeast corner of 2252 and 3009? I thought it went further under, but is the end of the line there service that large lot?
Yes, actually, that line is, it goes over that first flyover on 3009, and it will tie to the corner of that,
Okay.
that big tract, 14-plus acre tract.
Is that, has it been started, or are they underneath there already?
That
or-
little part has already been done.
Okay, it just doesn't reflect on here.
No,
Okay.
I just noticed that when you brought that up,
Oh.
it does not reflect that. The orange section is the part the section of the line that is left to be installed. I am not sure with all the rain if they were able to actually get started on that. I had not heard anything, so I am assuming that they were not able to start it yet.
Okay, thank you, Nancy. Oh, sorry.
No, that's all right.
I had pretty much the same question. You said it goes over the flyover. Under, okay. That's just point of clarification. I said, okay. To the corner of that property. But so that's designed to service that property? How about the properties further down towards the, is the future to tie in what will be our light industrial areas and?
As development dictates.
Okay.
And developers participate in pulling that line. I guess you could really look at this as being the backbone to the sewer system.
Okay. That answers the question. And the tank is going to be, I think I saw it one time. Okay, there it is, okay. There it is, excellent. And an 18,000-gallon tank, is that what, right?
Yes. The tank is not there yet. I do not believe it's been delivered. They are working, our engineers are currently working with CPS Energy as well as AT&T to get the additional infrastructure we need, the electrical power, the, what is it called? Went blank. The phone service to the system, the SCADA, the auto dial installed to that. So, I mean, there's still a little bit of work to be done on this. No, it will be above ground.
I have one more question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, please.
Nancy, on that, on the line that's not tested yet, that's eventually going to feed into that 18,000-gallon holding
All of
tank?
it will feed into that
What's
18,000.
there? Okay.
Yes.
And then
All of it will.
as the system grows, obviously, there's going to be an additional holding tanks.
No,
No, that will,
no, this is a pump and haul system.
oh, okay. No,
And-
I guess what I'm saying, okay, so the 18,000-gallon holding tank will service the future build-out?
Yes,
Okay,
yes. And as it reaches certain levels, then it will be pumped and
Pumped,
hauled and
right.
taken to the, to CCMA for
Yeah,
disposal
for the
and
disposal.
processing.
Right, okay. I was just curious about the future build-out, if there was additional proposed holding tanks.
No, just this one location.
Okay.
but it stands to reason that if development proceeds as we anticipate, 18,000 gallons may not do it, or we look that far in the future.
We're looking into the future.
So 18,000 gallons, okay,
We're looking into the future as well.
okay.
But with the pump and haul system, when,
You hauled, when it gets full.
you know,
you
if it
haul,
had to be hauled multiple times a day, then that's what that contractor would have to do. But it's not anticipated that, and it's going to take a while. I mean, we don't even have our first customer yet.
But it's such a big part of what we've been planning.
Yes.
That, I can understand the questions. And
Sure.
again, I beg your indulgence because next month we're going to have to repeat it again. And probably
That's
the month
fine.
after that, we'll have to repeat it again.
That's fine.
To get everybody up to snuff on at least that part of the growth plan. Any other questions about the sewer project and Tech Stock 2252 expansion? In the past, Nancy, we had a big layout. I know the city had a big layout from 2 or 3 years ago of the FM 2252 expansion, and it took up like 3 or 4 of those tables. And at one time, it seemed like we had it in here for one of our meetings.
We did. Those maps are
Okay.
rolled up in my office.
When we get up to full speed, ramming speed again, maybe sometime in September, October, I'd like to, if not, maybe have the city secretary remind me to put it on the agenda to have that set up so we can look at it again as a commission and
Sure.
review, and refresh our mind. Even though it's probably changed and a lot of it's already, I won't say a lot of it's already completed. More of it have been completed by that time, by September, October. That bridge may be finished, I don't know.
I think their plans are fairly well designed.
Oh, yeah, the plans are well designed, but I'm saying where we are with the project will have progressed. The bridge over the
Well,
Cibolo Creek,
it's
maybe.
being done in 2 segments. The first one is the bridge, and then after that is when they'll start the second part of the project, which will eventually extend into the city,
Okay.
through the city to 3009.
That part I'm remembered. The part I didn't remember was how they were gonna go over the railroad tracks, whether they were gonna do
It's going to be very similar to what
flyover?
yes, it's going to be a flyover.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yes. I don't believe that they've let that second part of the project.
Okay, okay.
I'm sorry?
My understanding, that's part of phase 2.
Yes.
That'll be part of the road work
Okay,
improvement.
okay.
So it's a little bit down the road
Uh-huh,
yet.
'Cause I think phase 1, my understanding, it does the new bridge over Cibolo, and then it's going to redo that intersection of Evans.
Okay, Evans and
Yeah, to-
2252.
Yeah.
Okay,
No, Evans, yes, and 22. Yeah, because they're going to widen
okay,
the bridge and everything.
okay. And then the second phase is the flyover and the road into
And the road.
Garden Ridge? Okay,
Yes.
okay. See, I didn't remember that part. That's informative. Other questions? Okay, let's move on to business item 5B4, the master land use plan. You know, I always, I kind of lump these two together most of the time when I think about it, and the draft zoning ordinance, but the master land use plan, I guess, discussion of that. We have and in the scheme of things, this future land use map that we have, it always says, whatever you read about the future land use map, it always says, this is not a zoning map. And to me, I look at it and it says, well, it's pretty close to a zoning map because it's got everything on there that I need to know but not as quite much as a citizen, but not as much as I would need to know as a developer. Anybody want to discuss the future land use map and master land use plan? Any questions about it? Mr. Hill, I'm looking at you more than anything else because you're coming up and trying to get up to speed. More than anything else, I don't know if you had any questions right now, or we can defer to the next meeting, because again, we'll be asking some of the same questions again next month.
I've familiarized myself with this. I, at this point, don't have any questions regarding this. No.
Okay. Is anybody else?
Well, I do, but I think I want to reserve it to the next.
The next topic?
The
Okay.
next item,
Next time or next topic?
the next topic.
Okay. So we can move to 5, oh God, too many pieces of paper here. 5B5, the draft zoning ordinance. Discuss and make possible recommendations related to the draft zoning ordinance presentation and/or the marketing plan with feedback to and from former council member Valdez and city council liaison for ordinance presentation and marketing plan. Somebody's been doing this too long to come up with a sentence like that. Karen, we'll start with you. Or do you want to wait till after the presentation?
I think Councilmember Valdez is going to make a presentation. Is
Presentation.
that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And do you want to make your questions after the
Yeah.
presentation?
Yep. Y'all gonna cover the ordinance first, or?
Most of the commission has not seen, well, they had it in their packet, right?
Yes.
Okay, so they have seen.
Yes, but I mean, you wanna cover any revisions to the ordinance before we start the presentation?
Yeah, well, I do have one revision to the ordinance.
Yeah, I think you ought to cover those first before we do the presentation.
Yeah. How about turning it on? Yes, in the last technical meeting that we had in June, I guess, as we went over things, there was one item, and I believe it's on page 40, and it has to do with the section, good heavens, it's a long one, home-based business. So on page 40, item 12 talks about garage sales. So there was a change in this paragraph to hopefully make it a little more understandable for people and also to protect the city from anyone who would try to just do back-to-back garage sales and all. So should I just read what we had? I should have given this to Kat so she would have it to put up here. But instead of what it has here in like the third sentence down, where it says 1 time per calendar quarter between the hours of and cannot exceed 3 days in length, we changed the wording to read 2 times per household per calendar year between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. And sales, new sentence, sales cannot exceed 3 days in length, and there must be a minimum of 5 days between sales. There shall be no blockage of streets. Let me just give this to Kat, so.
So Commissioner Diaz, the essence of what you did was just clear it up, clarify it?
Yes, clarify it and make sure that, because if they went beyond those parameters, it would actually be termed a home-based business.
Okay.
And so to alleviate that, we thought we needed to change the language. And I believe that was the only thing that we were going to change, if I'm not mistaken, in the ordinance. Okay, well, I know K was, right? That was the only thing we were going to change the language on in the ordinance that I can remember. Because that was the one thing I needed to bring to. I know. We've slept since then. Yeah. But I think that was the only thing in the ordinance that we thought needed to be clarified.
Okay. Then Councilman Valdez, the floor is yours for the presentation.
Thank you. So I had a small committee of Commissioner Diaz, Commissioner Giacomin, Councilmember Bauer and myself, and along with city staff, city administrator, and city secretary and assistant city secretary. And I kind of had outlined what I thought should be in here, and I put this together and sent it out for comments. So I don't know how much of it I had the chance to look at it, but I'll just go through it. The intent here is that it's a standalone document, that nobody's going to be presenting it verbally. So it's going to be on the webpage as a PDF file that people can just scroll as they go. So I have a lot of words in some cases, but that's the reason for it, is that it's all the information's there. Nobody has to talk to it, okay? As we go through it, you know, Kat will be making notes so I can make changes. Yeah, so, but anyway, this is just, for now, this is a
Do you want us
draft.
to let you go through the whole thing and then
Well,
come back
no, I
for
think we'll
questions?
go, I like to do it just once, you know, just go through and make changes, unless you know, you can come back to it if we have something else to look at it.
Were you asking slide by slide, you're saying?
Well, I
or-
mean, if you have any comments, we'll stop by, you stop
Okay,
me.
Okay.
If you don't, I'll just keep going. So I threw an executive summary in here, just mainly say that this is an overview, you know, here. I took the first paragraph out of, I think it was actually out of the ordinance, okay? Word for word. And then I added the second paragraph to talk about the 3/4 acres and the 1/4 acre lots, just to kind of get that out of the way, okay? And no hotels and no apartments. Get those 4 key items out of the way. Yes, ma'am.
I just have one comment, and I'm sorry I didn't get
That's
my
fine.
comments to you sooner, Jesse. On the paragraph that talks about the lot sizes,
Yes, ma'am.
under medium-density residential homes, it says with 1/4 acre minimum lot size. However, our chart says 10,000 square foot minimum lot size.
We can change that then, okay.
I
I think this is rounded up or something, yeah.
Okay, if we,
So-
I think that if, to stick with what the.
Nominal, okay, just, okay, stay with
Yeah.
10,000 there, okay,
Okay, thank you.
good point. Okay, and then I reference, okay, then I'm gonna put the link, you know, to the ordinance, so we'll have the idea is to have on the website this presentation and the ordinance as well, so you can just click the link here. Also have the link at the end of the package also, so they can either way, or they can just go to the website. But this eliminates hopefully the use of having to go through all, what do you call it? 170 pages. Here I made some changes already. I forgot to take approved plan list out. I had it on here, I didn't have it, I don't have any charts on it, so that's actually deleted, that's already got deleted. And then I supplement development regulations, that actually should be supplemental, so I'll fix those 2 areas. So it's just kind of the headings or the topics that will be covered in the presentation, just kind of an outline per se. So again, so we start off with the master land use plan, you know, why plan? And again, I got this out of the master land use plan. I know I've had some comments about whether capitalized city, not capitalized city, and depends on how it's used in the sentence, where it's capitalized or not. And I may not have it equally here, but here I think city should be capitalized in line 3, but city limits not. So that's kind of my thinking in that process. But if I need correct it, I can correct it.
I have a point that I think will go on as, or will be evident as we go on, if you didn't catch it, or I didn't get it to you in time. Some of the bullets have periods,
I
others
fixed,
do
right,
not.
yeah, so this one, so I try to be consistent now, so I already changed that, I already put a period in my
Okay, so
copy.
you're gonna have periods
Yeah.
on all,
And then
okay.
And if it's a sentence, if it's not a sentence, I don't have periods,
Okay.
basically. So, yeah, I try to catch some of those, I may still have missed them.
Okay.
I know Kat will find those for me.
I tried to catch.
Okay? Again, this is from the master land use plan, information about the future land use map that you all just talked about. Again, there's like Dr. Miller said, it's not a zoning map. I'll make sure to put that in there. It's only to be used as a guide for rezoning. Remember, when we talk about rezoning, we always refer to, was it in this future land use map? When we had one case where it wasn't, so it was recommended to deny. I mean, y'all did, when I was a commissioner then.
I'm gonna go back one slide because I think it's so important.
Right, okay, hold on. The wrong way.
I keep hearing this, you know, I see it on Nextdoor, I see it on Facebook, and it drives me crazy. People are saying, well, why can't we have this, or we'd like that, you know, venue in our area, and all, why can't the city do this? I think it's so important that you have put on here, the city does not control the private sector. I think people do not understand that the city of Garden Ridge really doesn't have any land per se. It's private owners. And yeah, we can entice them to bring the type of restaurants or bistros or whatever, you know, that we know citizens are wanting. But it's really up to the developer. And I think that is a very important
Important thing.
piece.
Yes. And again, the ordinance kind of controls some of that, but not all of it.
Right, we can, that's what the ordinance is for, to try to make sure that as people come to us, that we're getting, you know, what the citizens want and what's good for the city. But
And how it looks.
people are,
Yeah.
you know, going out on the media sites and saying, well, why can't we have this? Why, you know, all that, I just want to go, because we don't have land. So I think that's a key phrase. Thank you very much for getting that in.
Okay. So y'all talked about this map. I throw it in here. I know, and I think the change that was talked about at one point was about where the Club of Garden Ridge is, isn't it?
The Club of Garden Ridge.
Yes.
As well as that little tiny.
Yeah, so this map has not changed based, because y'all have not recommended changing it yet, so we'll leave it in here as it is, unless y'all change it today. Okay? So the special planning areas, you know, those are the 5 areas, so I've highlighted those here. Again, a lot of information just came word for word right out of and I'll check the periods also there. Came out of the master land use plan. So I highlighted these in bigger print, you know, by showing where they were. I know some of this may not, the area 1, I know that was purchased since this work was done, so I don't know if it's even an issue later on, but it's there because it wasn't the master land use plan. So we'll leave it like that because that's the way it is, so it may not go to anything in the future, but I also want to highlight that, you know, where Area 5 was for medium density residential. Okay? So now, go right into the zoning ordinance.
Bullet number 2,
Yes.
compressive plan should be comprehensive.
Oh, spell check worked.
Well, it's a word, but it's not the right.
I know. Yeah, I didn't catch that. Thank you. I just took highlights from one of those, you know.
Is there some way we can italicize or emphasize that the Planning and Zoning Commission is responsible for reviewing and recommendations to the city council, and the city council is the deciding body? I don't know how.
We can add that as another, just to continue with that sentence then.
All right, yeah.
I think that's a good idea. Yeah, I'm okay, I'm good with that. Yeah, just leave it as one burger dot, but. Or separate. We can,
So are you saying that you want just wording added, just making it clear that city council is the one that will make the final decision?
I think if you just said, making recommendations, if you just italicize that or make it bold print or something, they know we make recommendations, we don't make the decision.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
and the city council makes the decision.
Yeah.
That's what you want to.
And now, however we do that, I think that, to me, it would be as simple as just italicizing it or making it bold print.
Okay. So now we start going into the actual ordinance, and to make it easier, if anybody wants to go to the ordinance, I went ahead and put the section numbers in here. That way you can, you can look at it, you go to section number if you want to go to the ordinance, somewhere to tie those together, so people are just not having to search for it. That's why I changed the format here, right, for that.
I'm anticipating somebody saying, well, who decides, what the zoning districts are and where they go?
City council.
It goes back to what we said in the master land use plan. We have the current zoning, and now we're gonna change, those that are let me just skip onto that slide, I'll go back to it later. So those that are direct, equivalent, I'm sure we're gonna change the zoning map to that, right? So like RA goes to AG automatically, correct?
We'll have to change the city's current zoning map to align the existing zoning with
With
this
that.
chart.
So that'll change after the ordinance is approved.
Yes.
So those that are not equivalent will have, but they have to be based,
Shown on the map then? Those will be shown on the map?
no, the ones that don't have an equivalent, like RN,
Uh-huh.
no, so when somebody comes and requests to be RN, you have to go back to
Zoning map and change it.
we have to go
It's
back to
approved.
this
Right.
to see
Yeah.
if that allowed for it.
Well, so that was the one comment I had about the map. And I think I said this to
And,
you.
yeah.
Looking at this presentation as a citizen that had no background, okay? I'm looking at this and being kind of detailed the way I am sometimes. My question would be, okay, when we talk about the residential neighborhood district, where is that on here? Because we show mixed use, single family, and then, but we don't show where a neighborhood commercial district is. That was my question. Will this map then, will these get put on this map at some point? Where we believe they're going to be allowed?
Well.
Because they're not there.
No, I know they're not there on the comprehensive plan or the
On the
master
zoning map.
land use plan.
Yeah, the map.
They're not on that.
Right.
And they're not on
They're not on
On the
the
zoning map.
city's
They're not
current
on-
zoning map.
They're not on here.
No, because until that property is zoned, say for community mixed use overlay, it will not be put on the city's zoning map until that property is zoned that.
Okay, so there's no way to put proposed area?
No.
Or anything? Okay,
Because
because
the developer-
as a resident, I'm going to have questions about that. It's like,
As a developer comes in, he can come in and make the proposal for that overlay district.
So like right now, area 4, it says retail anchor, and right now all that land is ag, right? Most
No,
of it-
not all of it.
Not okay. But if it's, say some of that area is agricultural, they have to come in and request it. But it has to, so if they request one of those new ones, but it's say, you know, it's gotta meet what we have for, you know, retail.
Okay, so if I come to the presentation or look at it and I say, well, okay, where are we proposing neighborhood commercial district to be? Or, because we have non-residential and mixed-use zoning districts, and yet the mixed use is here, it's shown, okay? But the rest are not, so where are they? Are they gonna be over here on Shanethal Road? No, we know they're not, but I mean, somebody could have that question.
But I can't get the city's zoning map changed until,
Somebody requests,
well, no, I cannot have the city's zoning map changed until this ordinance is approved. Because technically,
so.
this new ordinance does not take effect
Right,
until it is approved.
It's not actually approved yet. So how do we answer a question that we know is gonna come up?
What you're gonna do is you're gonna look at the city's zoning map. Say someone wants to know where is,
Where's neighborhood commercial district going to be?
where's
Well,
office and professional district?
The what?
Which is a neighborhood, commercial district.
So we go back to where
You're
office
gonna
and-
look, you can currently look at the city's current zoning map.
Yeah.
Is that the city's
Okay.
current zoning
Yes.
map?
He's got it over here. Yakima.
Right
Well,
there.
the big one.
Yeah.
And you will be able to tell where those properties are that are zoned currently, office and professional, which will be equivalent to the new commercial, neighborhood commercial district.
Okay, so because that one actually has formally, but for one that doesn't, that's new, where do we say that goes?
Well, we don't have any of those properties zoned that yet.
Property owner has to come in and request one of those.
I-
But we, you know, it's still open to any of those.
And when that property is rezoned for that new zoning district, then that zoning map will be changed to reflect that new zoning on that property.
Again, you know, let's go back a few months when somebody came and wanted to change one of the areas to light industrial. And if we go back to this map, it was that area 3. And it's retail. Well, light industrial doesn't fit with there, so because it wasn't in this master land use,
Well,
we was
But
turned
we
down.
had light industrials already designated. And the,
Not
we
talking about
already
number 3,
had
yeah.
Area 3 designated as
Retail, yeah,
light retail or something.
was retail, yeah.
Yeah, so yes, there is a connection there. I'm, okay, I will be quiet. I'm just concerned that
I
we are
understand.
going to have the question asked.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Yeah,
No, I know we are.
and I understand your point, yeah.
And therefore, I just want to know what's going to be the answer. Well, we don't know yet, but we, you know, because we can't
Well,
change.
if someone wants to know where that neighborhood
stay
mixed
tuned.
use overlay district is, since there's no equivalent in our current zoning map, we can honestly tell them, we don't have property that's zoned
Yeah.
that
But it-
classification yet.
But it could go in one of these
Yeah.
two areas or
Well,
something.
that's the
That's
answer
all we
I'm
can-
looking
yeah.
for. It could go where? So somebody has to know where it could go so that we could say exactly what Nancy said, but also say, once somebody asked, it actually could go here or here. We have to give an answer. We can't say, well, you know, we don't know yet, or, because,
Maybe we could provide a scenario on a slide, like scenario A, and give that, you know, no?
no, because,
Mike,
If the whole intent of Vice Chair Diaz is just have like a sentence saying it could go here, then when, later on, when we get to the slides for the actual mixed-use overlay district, slides 21 and 20, then we can just add a bullet point on there saying, you know, this overlay district is not currently on the zoning map, but it can be placed in areas such as X and Y later on in the future.
And these,
Would that be satisfactory?
Yeah, I think so, because it would give the residents an idea that something, community mixed use or community, no, that's formerly.
Right.
But
Well,
this one that is not,
City
is
attorney.
not going to be in a residential area.
Yeah, and remember that we have the overlay districts
Right,
narrowed as to where they can go. So, just a bullet point that say
Right.
overlay districts can only go in the special planning areas,
and I
2,
think
3,
you
4.
actually have a slide that says similar to that, yeah,
okay, well,
yeah.
thank you,
Okay,
that's a
well,
good idea.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we're not like
No,
deer in the
but
headlights.
that's a good way to cover
when
it.
somebody asks that question.
Yeah. Okay. I keep pushing the wrong button to go back. So this is just the zoning districts. Now, note, I have a bunch of these that I just took a screenshot from the PDF file, so they still have draft. After we get the draft off the ordinance, hopefully today, we can, I'll get these cleaned up. Okay, so I just have the zoning ordinance, and I also have, the 03, which has the previous and the current equivalent. Okay, and then I went through all the different, the residentials, the business, and then the overlays, and just took words from each one. And if it was a formal one, I put the formal. If it's a new one, I put new. So, and these words came right out of the ordinance. Okay? I didn't try to minimize what I created. So,
I had a
if I make
question.
typos, that's
I had a question on slide.
Yes, sir.
Slide 14.
14, okay, I'm on 14.
Bullet number, well, the fourth one down. Agricultural uses are encouraged when at all possible and should not be detrimental to urban land uses.
That's right out of the ordinance.
Okay, should it say should be deferential
Did
or,
you look up the ordinance? Who's got the,
All right, what we're targeting there is that we do have some agricultural areas within the city. There are not that many of them.
Okay.
But the point of that particular language there is that there isn't somebody out there that suddenly wants to bring their mini dairy to an agricultural area because they are so in such close proximity to all this urban land use that surrounds them. And so that's why, while it's ag and you could do ag stuff there, the idea is that your ag is in line with the urban land uses next to you, so that somebody doesn't come in and try to run a feedlot or, a full-blown dairy or something like that, just so that it's that signal to them that technically it's ag, but it's not full-blown ag to where you could have that type of operation on these smaller pieces that are designated ag.
okay, that answers my question.
And if that occurred, that would be an interpretation issue for our zoning administrator to explain that to wherever the applicant was.
I've got a question real quick, and I know that this has already been written, but shouldn't that read, agricultural uses are encouraged when at all possible, but should not be detrimental to urban land uses? It kind of, both clauses are kind of at opposite with each other. You see, you're saying and, it's not the same. I don't,
I actually changed the
Oh, I-
words in
I
there,
know-
but I got it from different paragraphs.
I know you didn't do anything
Yeah.
there.
But I
I'm just
mean,
talking
it's
about what we
not-
currently
no.
have in the
No,
draft ordinance.
In the ordinances, generally, the GA district will be near development, therefore, the agricultural activities conducted in AG districts should not be detrimental to urban land use, period. Agricultural uses are encouraged to be continued when all possible. So I just changed the direction, but I can make it sound a little differently, to make it more like what's in the book. I think it
Okay.
might satisfy.
So I didn't realize it wasn't a direct cut and paste. I apologize.
Yeah, that was not, but I get the words out of there, I just may have changed them around.
Okay.
But I can.
Do you see what I mean there with
Yeah.
instead of the and, the but?
Yeah,
It
I
kind
see
of
what
makes
you're
a little
saying.
more sense there. Okay.
I'm gonna make it two burger dots and take them out just directly, change the order.
Perfect. Okay. Thanks, Jesse.
Yeah.
Jesse, I have a question on 19, the community
19,
commercial.
hold on. Okay, so I'm on 14
Oh,
now.
I'm sorry, did I jump ahead? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I stand down.
So residential estate, no changes here really. I did note that Country Club District is now part of residential, so the Club of Garden Ridge is really residential now, the new one.
It's a separate
But it's part,
zoning, but
not-
it's
We,
included in that residential
right, yeah,
section.
right, yeah. So,
but we
Okay.
did say that didn't we change it to where there was the,
You're gonna, that's one thing that was gonna be changed on the master land use map.
right. We, no, we said we would do it as we're doing this.
and the reason I did that is because we go back to this, see, Country Club,
Residential estate.
goes to. So I may have to rethink how you put the map, how you do the,
And it was a different color, right? T90, but,
Yeah, they had it, the master land use plan, I believe, showed it green as
Green.
a park.
yeah.
yeah.
I was reading through them in slide number 16.
Okay.
I anticipate a question.
Well, first of all, I changed quarter acre to 10,000 square feet. What I'll do is on parentheses, I'll put what the actual .25 or whatever it is for, in acres. So people, it won't be .25, but it'll be whatever it is. That may be better. That way put 10,000 square feet, and in parentheses, put the decimal equivalent. Okay, back to you, Dr. Miller.
Well, it kind of flows with that, because when I read it, I'm saying up to 4 units per acre, that means a quarter acre or 10,000 square feet.
That's right.
Why is that not equivalent to tract homes? When you get tract homes, they're quarter acres. And I don't think the whole purpose of some of the opposition we're gonna have is they don't want tract homes. And I really didn't think about it, so I looked at it, I said, quarter acre, that's a tract home. Had we missed that, or am I interpreting it wrong, or what?
As I recall, Chairman Miller, that was our only area that was set up for medium density.
Yeah, but are we saying they can have tract homes in there? That's basically what I'm asking. That's what, I think that's what a citizen's gonna ask. If it's saying a quarter acre or 10,000 square feet, we're saying, yeah, you could go put tract homes in there. It's down there, what, area number 5 or somewhere down that edge?
Yes, sir.
And is the language though, medium density housing will only be permitted in residential neighborhood, which brings it over to like section 5, special planning area 5? Because we had talked about the possibility of another area, but it would require sewer.
The developer could pull that sewer to
Right.
it.
Right, exactly. But that would mean that it would be more over
But
here.
a developer could come in also and want to do what is equivalent to our residential neighborhood district, but in with the PUD,
Right, through
Oh,
an
yeah.
overlay.
through a PUD overlay somewhere along Nacogdoches Road.
Okay, so.
In the mixed-use area, yeah.
Why do we want to say it will only be permitted? I mean,
Where are you seeing?
Where am I seeing it?
right there, the second to the bottom, second bullet from the bottom on.
Oh,
I turned it on and I turned it off.
I can take that out if you make it easy.
I mean, that was my question. We
well,
want to use
there's
the
a-
word definitive.
Because there's a difference between a use by right something that's granted to you via ordinance, just automatically, and those things that could or may be granted to you, you know, through an overlay or through the PUD use. And so the area, the special permitting area was a determination that that would be allowed as a use by right under the ordinances. And then as Nancy was explaining, there's a potential that perhaps by permission and through the other processes, it could go in these other planning areas. So there's the use by right automatically. If you have property in this District 5 and you want to do that, it would be a use, period.
Well, and we explain that, and when we get over to 20501, okay? I'm just questioning, is this going, are the residents going to have, you know, but you said this was only going to be allowed here. I'm just asking about the word, will only be allowed, and not boxing ourselves in their minds.
Well, yeah. And if I look at page 28, that does have in the neighborhood mixed use and community mixed use, so I'll take that sentence out.
I'm just asking about
So,
why box ourselves
yeah,
in their minds.
I think some of the thoughts that I'm recalling in that residential neighborhood district was showing the residents that this type of development will not be allowed in
Estate.
the estate.
that's the main thing.
We were trying to send that message.
Maybe I
so
can put
they-
that,
Maybe that's how we ought to say it.
You know, so no one's thinking that somebody can take that 3/4 acre lot
And turn it into
and turn it into
3 things or something.
3 of these lots. I
Right.
think that's what we were
Okay.
trying to convey.
And maybe
No,
that
but-
makes more sense to say,
will not be in the residential estate.
will not be permitted
Will
in
not be
resident,
permitted
in the residential estate district.
Can I get a, oh, go ahead, finish.
One last question
Oh, no,
here.
question.
So is this area, which has a number, but there's no numbers down here, I guess it's in another map. Number 7, was that the area we were questioning before with the possibility if a developer wanted to run sewer?
That was one area we talked about.
Right, okay. So,
There were several tracks along 2252.
right,
Where someone could come in and put a medium or the residential neighborhood district in. The properties are large enough. but
okay.
Those technically would have to be done through one of those overlay districts.
Okay. Is this area in the residential estates right now? That's number 7.
Is that that's
Which one?
the large property next to Wildwind?
Yes.
Yes, that property, well, that property is zoned residential as our
No.
current
Current.
zoning ordinance. However, right. However, that property is not platted.
We're talking about the blue line, no, the number one.
Single family.
She called it
infill.
7, but it's number 1,
It's
yeah.
number 1.
It's residential right
So
now.
a developer could, if that property owner sold off part of that, a developer could come to the city and say, I would like to put a residential neighborhood district there. So it would have. to
Medium
be
density or something.
zoned and more than one
Don't use that word. It's medium density. No, because actually, somebody informed us that garden homes mean something different. They're like,
Yeah,
and they're probably less than 10,000.
I think 10,000.
What?
Okay. A developer could potentially come in and say, I bought half of that tract. I want to put in the medium density, smaller lot homes. Technically, we could not rezone that as residential neighborhood district because everything around it's zoned the equivalent to the residential estate, and that would be spot zoning, which we can't do, but a developer could come in with one of those overlay districts.
And you say we couldn't stop.
Well, it's not that we couldn't stop them,
And
but they, if they wanted to bring
We're
sewer.
allowing those overlay districts, so that is not, that would be permissible, correct? That would not constitute a spot zoning, would it?
So if they ask for the rezone to the proper district that allows the overlay use, and
But there's no overlay use in residential. So that will always have to be the large family, the large houses.
Okay, that was another question I had.
Okay.
Okay. I learned something, my brain thought tonight.
I've got just a quick question regarding the same particular issue. And I go back to the area that's indicated number 5. Why do we even have this medium density included in here? What is the purpose for,
Medium density was brought into this proposed ordinance because we have citizens who would like to stay in Garden Ridge on the smaller lots.
I'm aware of that.
That's why it was included in this ordinance.
Would,
But again, you have to have, there's a place for it, okay?
Correct.
But you have to have a developer come in and do it the way it's been set up to be done, which is why, and I think you were at the meeting when Overman,
oh, yeah, yeah.
presented his, it got shot down because he wasn't doing
Well, that was like
medium
high density.
density. Yes, it was high density, and it went, psh,
Well, I guess my question is, and if I'm way out of, if there's something I'm missing, and obviously it's only my second meeting, would it be better to have that opportunity for somebody to come before us, or both groups, to request to put medium density in and to leave it out now? And that way we could grant a variance for medium density. If we have somewhere we're allowing them to put medium density and then they meet that, and it isn't some of the people that exist already in the city that want to move out to that area, it ends up being like a development that a developer wants to put tract homes in. He now meets that particular ordinance and is able to do that. And we're not able to really stop him as long as he meets the ordinance as it's written.
If he pays for the sewer, he can put track on.
Correct.
That's the way I'm reading that.
If we allow that as it is. But if we don't allow the medium density housing and somebody wants to do it, they have to come and request in order to do that. And then at that point, we have the opportunity to say yes or no.
But
Can
We
we
would have to
preclude
have
that
some
by
sort of-
law? I mean, can we say we don't allow it by law? Or remember, all the discussion was, it has to be allowed somewhere. So I
What has
don't
to
know
be
if
allowed
this-
somewhere?
Various things I'm asking you,
Oh.
that has to,
Right.
we have to have a place for it.
Well, we can have a place for it, and if somebody comes to us and wants to do it, then we can allow them. But if we have a place for it now, mixed use, I'll just reiterate what I just said, and somebody comes and adheres to the ordinances and wants to put something in there that we didn't intend, even though I'm not saying we did allow it, but we didn't intend it. And, do you understand what I'm saying?
Let's go back.
I think I know where you're headed with
Go ahead.
this. And so what I am going to say is that, one, that's a policy decision. So the group, y'all will have to rehash that, on what policy decision you want to make as to medium density. And two, We'd have to figure out a way to make it a permissible use, because that's what Commissioner Diaz was referring to, is that there are some things that we cannot just out and out prohibit, and neither can we draft the ordinance so that when as applied, it is an absolute prohibition. And so that's the things that we have to kind of draft around. So I have to know what the policy intent is first, and then work towards drafting language that gets us there.
I'm not trying to prohibit medium density. What I want to do is make sure that if somebody does want to put in medium density, we have more say on how it happens versus somebody just coming in and saying, I want to build medium density. It meets your current ordinance. I'm going to build, now I can build it however I want to build it. Versus us saying, that's not what we want there, even though you want to build medium density, we want it, and then not allowing the variance. Maybe, I know I'm talking in generalizations. It's not that I'm opposed to it. I am opposed, I want it to be done the right way.
Do you understand that we're talking about two different documents here?
Well, I know,
This document is the master land use plan
Oh, I
that
understand
was
that
authorized,
completely.
that was approved in 2018.
no, I understand that.
And I just brought this in so we could work on from the new ordinance, how they blend together.
Oh, I understand
I
that,
don't-
but in the new ordinance, but this is the new ordinance.
Right.
And what I'm saying is, if we allow residential neighborhood district, which allows, you know, the 10,000 square foot lots, which is, just so everybody knows, that's 0.229 of an acre. I know there was a lot of questions about that. So really close, just under a quarter of an acre. And somebody does come in, like Dr. Miller said, and wants to put, and their
Any
plans.
plan that comes in will still have to develop a master plan that has to be approved by this board first, and then go to the city council for final approval. If it meets the standards that are set up in this ordinance, then it will be approved.
Correct.
But if it doesn't, I mean, that's the whole purpose of this ordinance, is to make sure that what is approved is what we want in there. And keeping I mean, we're backtracking if we take out medium density at this point in time.
Okay,
I mean, we would have to start all over on revising the master plan and
okay.
revising.
So
the-
because, and therein lies the answer to my question. Because it's in the master plan, we have to have it in the ordinance.
No, we can change the master plan, but we have to change it first, and this is what they're saying. And then we change the ordinance to reflect that. But I think there was a reason for medium density. I'm a planner that goes way back a little bit before, not on the city side, but having medium density, or even some cities, lower density, that is something that you want in your city so that, you know, employees, people have some place that they can afford to live, as long as it meets the standards of your community. We don't want a trailer park in there.
Right.
But there's some people that want to live in trailer parks. We just probably won't allow them here.
Right.
So I think it's a problem that will only become a problem if somebody comes in and proposes something that doesn't match up with the concept of this ordinance.
The other thing is, because this special area number 5 is for medium density residential, that's a location it could go. They're gonna have to bring sewer in. That's not inexpensive. Therefore, even though you may end up with smaller lots that, you know, some citizens want, because all we keep hearing is we have to move out of Garden Ridge because there's no place for us to go if we don't want a three-quarter acre lot. These may be smaller, but they're not going to be inexpensive because of everything it's going to take to get sewer and everything else there. Even when Mr. Overman came with his high-density proposal, they were not inexpensive. Okay, so I think that, I hear what you're saying, and you're hearing, we want three-quarter acres. Okay, but you gotta look at the universe. You have to look at Some want it, some don't. But, which is why it's hard being on this commission, because, yeah.
Opposed to it. I just want to make sure it's done the way that,
Yeah, well, yeah, we
Yep.
agree, we all agree with that.
Absolutely.
And if I could ask, what type of regulations were you thinking of as controls to a medium-density development?
well, the fact that I guess my only concern, and I realize it would be expensive, if, the way our ordinance is written, somebody could come in and say, my plan meets your ordinance, or all of my, meets all the criteria in the ordinance. And so I'm going to move forward with it. Once, obviously, we wouldn't be able to stop him because, him or her, because the
Well, we
ordinance
still
allows
would
it.
have to approve it. If it does meet all those standards, then we would have no reason not to approve it.
Correct. Whereas, however, if it wasn't there, if we didn't have the residential neighborhood district,
Then we're going back and have to revise the land use plan.
I understand. But if it's not there, we can still allow it, but we can
Well-
allow it in the way we want to move forward with it. We allow the variance in a certain,
If we don't allow something in the ordinance, how, I guess I don't understand
no, it's not,
how we're.
somebody could still come to us and
going
say,
allow it. If we're not going to allow, how are we going to allow it?
let's say it's zoned something different, but they come to us and say, I want to rezone it and put in medium-density housing. Now we've got more control over what they're doing because,
But if we don't allow that type of zoning, we can't,
well, they want, okay.
we wouldn't be able to zone it for what they wanted.
Not even if they came and asked for a zoning change.
Right, exactly, because if we don't have someplace where medium density goes, and every place is, not geared, the lot lines, the setbacks and all that is not geared so that you could fit that in. Even if somebody came to us and said, I want to do this development here, if we don't have that use built in within the ordinance, we'll say thank you, but no.
Okay.
We don't have that use here. Now, that doesn't mean that they can't talk to a council member and then see about, changing ordinances and that sort of thing. But the answer is that if we don't have a zoning and we don't have a use, established for that, and you can't make it fit in within the established uses, thank you, it's a lovely idea, but no. And so I'm just not sure what other types of controls you would like for medium density that maybe the thing is that we look at the medium density regulations and see about tightening those to make that a tighter fit.
Maybe so, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Back to you,
Ready to
Jesse.
move on?
Yeah, back to you.
Okay. So next there is a non-residential and mixed-use zoning district. So there's 7 in here. A couple of new ones. And again, I just took general words out of the ordinance. For all these here, so we can, wherever we want to go to any of these.
I have a question on
Mike?
slide 19. This is formerly neighborhood service district, now it's community commercial. For example, Overman's property.
Yes,
Okay.
this will change to CC, yeah, community
Right,
commercial.
okay. The second bullet says, should have pedestrian access to adjacent residential areas. How do we do that? My vision is that with that sentence, then you have these things where you walk over the street and come back down. Otherwise, how do you have pedestrian access to the residential areas?
I'm reading should as opposed to must.
Oh, I get you, but, maybe we should have may, but, because
Well, whatever you-
how would you do that?
If you want to change this, you need to change the ordinance also.
I understand you can clean up off the ordinance, but I'm wondering how
Understand
do
what
you
you're-
do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Quick Trip had a sidewalk, short one.
Yeah, but how do you get there
Yeah, I don't-
across
yeah.
3009?
No, not 3009, 2252.
2250.
That's only
Well,
residential.
Either 2252, yeah, how do you, well, or both of them. How do you get there? How do you get there from here without a vehicle?
But
Adjacent to that.
are those adjacent properties residential areas?
The ones that are closer, as we build down
Right,
further that
'cause
way,
I think
So
that's built
adjacent
in,
means like right there.
right, that's.
Across.
Yeah.
Okay, so the,
Quick Trip is not there.
the mixed use, number two would be the only one that could have, but probably not much, because the residential overlay in there.
I think that the reason we have that in there is that because we have areas that are already established residential, they could have abutting properties that could develop otherwise.
On 2252.
Right, and so the idea is that, not that you can access it by pedestrian access, but if you have something that is adjacent to a direct residential area, you know, try to have some connectivity, some walkability that was established in the comprehensive plan.
Or.
because there's some
Yeah, you know,
residential on
and there may,
Macro Loop.
yeah, there may be some areas where that's just not gonna work as to, because where the property is located.
Okay, right, okay, so
Not
if you're
mixed use,
on
but neighborhood.
Yeah.
one side of 2252, something for golf cart access or walking access. I think people would
Golf cart,
like golf carts.
but not illegal in the city, to be on the street, on 20, on the farm to market roads, yeah, okay? The only question I had on P, public and institutional districts, there was some discussion, you know, if we should add, I know it says public schools, but should we include any private schools in here? That's the way it is right now in the ordinance, so that's why it is right there, but
In our draft ordinance, I thought we had talked about that.
it's not in the ordinance.
In our chart, I believe we have public and private combined.
So should you have them both, public dash private?
Slash private.
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct. On page 34, it says school, public or private.
Yes, so we probably should have them both.
It's on page 34, it does, on the, so,
Because I knew we had that discussion.
okay.
And is standalone, should it have a hyphen? Yes.
Oh, okay.
So you're wanting to add on the slide, it to say public and private schools.
Or,
Or.
So that means in the ordinance where this came from, we need to also change that wording. Because this didn't come from the chart where we already changed the wording. It came from a
Right.
whole different page.
yeah, this came from page 25. the use chart has on 39, I think, or whatever that was. 34. So the question is, do we need to add it to the ordinance on page 25?
I mean, I think so, it's in the use chart.
Would it just take, what would it take to change page 25 to say, and public or private schools?
Just tell her.
Yeah.
That's what I was asking.
Okay.
Is that the only area that would need to be changed, Marissa?
As far as
We'll find out.
But the chart is right.
like we said, this ordinance
34.
will never be 100%, right?
Well, we're trying.
We'd be close, but, okay? So the special zoning districts, the aquifer, the natural features, and the planned unit development. That's supposed to be planned use, right? Did we change that? Or, so, I didn't change it here,
Yes,
apparently.
that is planned use.
Okay, so I need to change those. Now, on the planned use development, one question I had when I sent it out, where'd it go? Was, do we need to include any slides that our city attorney presented to this? Does it need more information than just this for here? Keep it simple, my thought.
Hey, I think I'm going to go with you on that one,
Just leave it like this.
Councilman, because, yeah, this is designed to just be an overview. I mean, if somebody actually has property that may qualify for a planned use, they know what they need to do to get the details.
Right.
And so I think if we add too much detail here, then we've kind of,
Yeah.
yeah,
The intent was for educate the commission then.
right. And the intent of this was just to give an overview of
Yeah.
big picture.
Right. Okay. Anything else on any more of those zoning districts? I'll go back if I need to.
I think on, no, not on the districts, but on slide 37.
27?
37, well, I skipped over all the little.
Oh, your way,
charts.
okay. So my question again, anything on the zoning districts, and then we'll go on to land use regulations.
Oh, I thought we did.
Okay, so in the land use regulations, I took a couple things, and I just screenshotted everything from here. I know there's a lot of slides, but, having here, I thought it'd be easier to leave them here instead of having them go to the ordinance. If there's any of these we want to highlight, we can highlight somehow any of these we need to, otherwise just leave them like it is. Right? Yeah. Cat can highlight. Cat can figure it out. We need to schedule an appointment the next day or so. So again, that's my intent here, is have them here. They can scroll through them real quick or go to the ordinance, but I thought it'd be easier just to leave all of them here instead of just picking and choosing. So there's quite a few like that, but, okay. And then the next goes into talking about, where it says permit or special use, then there's a letter associated with that, then we go into these special ones. And I only highlighted or covered 3 of these in the use standards: the dwelling accessory, the garage sales, and short-term rentals. Just because I know that's going to be something, garage sales is something new, that the city council had asked for, I guess, a year ago. So that was added. And again, short-term rentals, just to highlight, talk about those, and the dwellings have always come up in the past. So I only wanted to cover those 3 instead of going through all of them. But if anybody wants to add something else or take out, we can do that.
Cat. Chart 37,
Okay.
second bullet, second line, subject to, should that be referenced?
Yes, I already corrected that on mine. So I already caught that one.
Cat caught that too.
Yeah. You didn't catch it the first time. There's another mistake also further down, Jack. I went through the charts backwards this time. Okay, so that one there. I didn't originally have dwelling accessory, but, because I already had it as an accessory somewhere else, but those are two different kinds. This is actually a place you live in, not a detached garage, you know. So they're actually different, so. Right, yeah. Dwelling, right. So I believe Karen already changed the garage sales per what you changed, what y'all changed today.
I found one little correction for, on page 42, under garage sales.
42? Oh,
The
okay.
last bullet, second sentence.
Wait a minute.
This is different.
Yeah, I changed,
Oh,
you might have the original, the earlier version.
I guess I do.
Because, yeah, Karen made so many changes already.
Okay,
I sent in some changes.
okay.
Yeah.
Jesse, I had a question about slide number 40.
Okay,
First bullet, defined in the International Residential Code as the rental for compensation of one dwelling. You mean one's dwelling?
yeah, probably should be singular, huh? Yeah.
Or one family dwelling,
One family. Go to,
one family dwelling. Yeah,
Where's
I-
that in
I-
here?
I caught that one too over here.
Yeah.
go back to my book to see where I got the words from. I thought about taking out the International Residence Code too, just to be less confusing.
No, I think it adds weight to it, to be truthful. I think it adds weight to it.
Okay,
so
we'll leave it
people don't
there.
ask
That's
them-
why I left it there for discussion.
Don't get into a whole bunch
Okay.
of nitpicking about it.
So what are we gonna go with? Ones or one family? And take off the S off.
Everything I see in the book says dwelling only, so I think it was meant to be a singular. What do you? No, but I'm trying to find out where I got it from. Oh, you know where I got
You
that
got it
from?
from the definition of short-term rental.
I got it from the definitions, yes.
Yes. It says the rental for compensation of one dwellings. So that's in the ordinance.
Because I recall somebody telling me to go to the definition. So that's where I
So
got, yeah.
do we want it to just say of one dwelling? Of a dwelling?
Dwelling.
A dwelling?
So it needs to change in the definition as well?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, good. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had, this one.
Where? What page?
Slide 26.
26.
I have a question on.
Natural features?
I have slide 26 on here, but
What?
there's something that says, should contacted be connected? And I don't know, I don't know this.
Connected. Oh, that could be the,
The second bullet.
which,
All properties contacted by a human should be connected.
probably. Yeah, you're probably right. Special, okay, then it's contacted in the standard ordinance. 26? I'm a good copier. Sometimes, if my fingers do the right spelling, I might change the words and spelling. But, It should be connected. One letter. Connect. Right?
I know what that means.
What does that mean?
It's that, it's, you actually have to have a boundary that touches to FM 399 in 2252.
Contacted.
It is contacted? So we maybe need to find a different word for that.
So it's like, touching, right? I mean, it's what you mean, not,
So not necessarily connected, but
connected could be a sidewalk, but yeah, that sounds like a good one. See, I'm helping with the corrections with the ordinance.
Abutting is probably going to be consistent properties.
Attorney's still thinking.
I think contiguous works, but, or abutting works, but it's the 200-foot buffer. It's trying to establish that the overlay district is that 200-foot buffer.
Whatever.
You see us making faces over here. It's like, Contiguous to FM 399 and 2252. I tell you what, rather than, just if y'all want to continue on with that, let me go over here.
Okay, okay.
on slide 20, I don't know how these got past me. Slide 28, land use regulations. Those two bullets to me were confusing. I was like, what? Land and buildings in each of the zoning districts may be used for any of the specified uses in this section. Building and land can only be used in the specified permitted use as shown in, I just thought that was confusing. Maybe it's just me.
To be honest with you, that one I may have written. I don't think
You didn't have to say that, Jesse.
well,
I know.
when you look in the ordinance, you're not gonna find it, I'm sure.
But it just seems to say the same thing, but I was confused. I was like, huh?
Land use.
So I see the first sentence in the ordinance.
Huh?
I see the first bullet is in the ordinance, but the second one,
Whereas in,
I think you made it up.
No, we're trying to get it right before we go against the real brutal group.
So it
dry
says, no land shall be used and no building or structure shall be erected, altered, or converted for any use other than those specified as a permitted use in the district in which it is located, as shown in the use chart.
what page are you on?
Very choppy.
I've used the whole sentence you just read.
Okay.
27.
Just just make a note that page 27 and,
Page 27 on the ordinance? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, I would use that, because this way I was just going, what?
Okay, just that first whole paragraph then? I didn't, I only put the first, okay. Okay. Now where to? Back to after the use charts? I'm gonna go past all the use charts then.
Yeah.
We talked about those, we talked about the accessory dwelling, anything more in the garage sales or short-term rentals.
And you already changed the garage sales to the right language, okay?
Okay,
Short-term
you told me
rental.
what to change.
So do we have to change something on 42 to make it, or we just have to say the 10,000?
It's 10,000, it's
It's
already.
the 4 DUA, yeah.
That's what I was trying to make that consistent.
Mm-hmm.
But I point out to Ms. Kane that where was that? I need to find it, hold on.
There is a place that says quarter acre.
Page 18 says quarter acre.
That needs to be changed.
I knew I got a quarter acre somewhere. Okay,
Where
no,
was
the
that?
changes to this chart, right? Whatever is in the ordinance, we'll put in here. And then we'll change this to make, well, change, no, on the earlier chart, yeah. Yeah, yeah, okay. So after the dimensional table, then I got development regulations. Here, I covered accessory structures, because that's the one that covers how many buildings per lot, storage and use of vehicles, and I also put one on lighting. I thought those were the three. And I don't think I followed your, who's the Kat's suggestions. You had a different suggestion, I think, Kat. I picked different ones. But thank you for your suggestions, though. Okay, so. I know there's been talk about dark sky, but this is what's in the ordinance about lighting, so I just kept it simple. Didn't mention dark skies. I thought this is what it says in the ordinance, so I'll leave it that way. It's an intent. Right, so this is the wording that. Okay, this is also, okay, on 46 supplemental. I already changed it on my copy. Just typo. And I just put these in here just to show that. That's kind of where it ends then. Now, I don't know if that's a good ending point before I get to this slide that just says, you know, where the link is to the ordinance. Send your comments to the city secretary by a certain date. And then the questions will be reviewed at the next meeting. So I just put this information here. We can correct it to whatever y'all want, you know, what days you want here. So that's the total. It was 60 pages, the original one. I cut it down to 47, so.
Thank you for doing this.
Look,
I know it was a monumental task.
yes.
Yeah, thank you,
Linda's
Councilman.
still harassing me
Good.
for not paying attention to her.
Oh.
So the plan is to put this on the website?
That's my suggestion. Yeah,
Okay.
and I think that's what. City administrator, yeah.
Are we planning on doing a public hearing on August the 10th?
Well, I just threw that in there just so that's, I mean, I put those words in there so we can talk about it. So see, that's what y'all want to do or not. I just,
Public hearing will require a public notice. 15 days on this? 15 days on that?
So not only do we have to do the public notice, and we have to get that published and posted and all of that sort of thing, we're also going to need to develop, I'm going to call it a postcard or notice to individual property owners, because some individual property owners are going to be directly impacted,
right.
more so than others. But I think the safest way for the city, because is to notice property owners saying, public hearing,
Just send
yeah,
a postcard to each and every resident.
And that could be also the way to communicate that this is available,
Yeah,
that this
be a
presentation and the
very-
ordinance is available online, to get people to go look at it. Because I was trying to think of how do you let the public know that this presentation is on the server, where it is,
right,
you know,
right.
and so we need to get it out really as soon as we can, as soon as it's published, get those postcards out of my
Be-
thing, not just,
Right, because the biggest issue, I mean, and this is a legal technicality, this is a substantive issue, you know, due process
Right.
law issue, is that the current ordinance is what I call a waterfall ordinance, so that if you have a higher use or a lower use, we've got that chandelier effect, right? So that it pours down, so that, you know, if you're in a residential district, you know, you have these uses, and then the next intensive use could be, you know, a commercial use, and you could have some uses from this district in this district as well, and then that tier underneath it could have all of those above it. And that's just how that original ordinance was drafted.
yeah.
So some people are technically not going to have the same rights that they had beforehand. In our case, it's advantageous to them because it keeps out those higher uses from the residential
residential,
areas.
yeah.
But they still have to get that legal notice that you are impacted by X.
but I
This
just put
ordinance.
these dates in here so so y'all could talk about it, basically. So just see what y'all think timing is appropriate.
Well, last time I looked, nobody on the commission does any typing or puts it together. I'm looking to the city administrator and city secretary. Is it reasonable to think we can do this by August 10th?
No, absolutely not.
Okay,
Okay.
that answers the
To
question.
put together
Just
a
gotta be honest with you.
postcard to draft the public notice, because this is not going to be your typical public notice. We're going to need the assistance of the city attorney to make sure we adequately word that public notice.
And we've done these before for other cities, you know, complete overhauls, so we've got
Template.
some template language that will kind of
Yeah.
take off some of the pressure on getting that put together.
Okay.
So I really should have just let the month and the date open. But
Yeah.
anyway, I
No,
just
but
thought,
that's a good idea, because otherwise it might have gotten past us to really fine tune and discuss
yeah, but I
that.
wanted
Yeah.
y'all to think about it, at least talked about it today
Yeah.
before, so we can pursue. So I know my timetable to get the PowerPoint out. Yeah,
Certainly.
as well.
I looked at it in terms of some of the things you're talking about adding. I said that should probably be in the grapevine so people know to go look at it. And today is the 12th, and we got to pick it up if we did that. So what do you think is a more reasonable date? September?
September,
Yeah.
okay, September.
And I would recommend that we don't put this postcard in the water bill. It be sent
Separate.
as individual mailing to the residents.
Also, not everybody gets a water bill.
Exactly.
So
So it
it
will
has
have
to
to
be
be
separate.
every person that has garbage service with the city. That will even include your commercial area.
Okay, yeah.
We may even have to go through the tax roll. Yeah, I just thought about that. We're going to have to get a listing of the tax roll.
Yeah, because some people have e-bills, and
Yeah.
putting it as a link in there was not
No,
going
we're,
to suffice
we are
as
going to
public
have to go by the
notice
tax roll. We aren't going to be able to depend on water or
or
garbage list.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to have to be the tax roll. I don't know how long that is going to take us to get all of that pulled together.
especially with the timing.
Well, when y'all figure that out, that's when we actually post it then at that time, because even there's no sense in posting it too early. So until you have a date, all that determined.
How about we do this? Staff come up with a kind of a timeline to, do some research, go in and get that template, work on a postcard, see how long it's going to take us to get the tax roll information. And we present y'all with the timeline at the August meeting.
That works for me. Assuming it's enough time for you guys to do it.
I think you should work backwards into it to where you determine whether it's September or October. It's really.
Well, we'll be able to give you more of an idea at your August meeting.
Okay, okay.
Let us put our heads together and work that out.
Can we get a clean copy so we can
Yes.
read it again and just make sure?
We've got plenty of time, so yes,
Skip-
after I get all the notes and
skip
put everything in,
something.
then I'll send it to staff to mail it out to y'all.
And you want a clean copy of the ordinance as well? Is that what you're
Yeah.
asking?
I don't know.
Or you're not ready for that yet?
This also will give staff a little bit more time, making sure that some of the changes that were discovered this evening do get
Adjust.
addressed prior to this document and prior to public hearings
That's what
going
I was going to
forward.
say. If anyone really wants a clean copy of the ordinance, I think it would be best that you wait until we feel that we have caught all of these little
Right.
things,
Right.
until we feel the key words, because we're never actually going to catch all of them.
And,
Do you have the word for that?
and actually, I'm checking to make sure my mic is on, so that we can really start pressing and moving this forward. I'm sending my note to myself that within the provisions where we've kind of got all the legal and such set up, that we are going to make a determination that if it's in the use chart and there's a discrepancy between the use chart and written language with anywhere within the ordinance, use chart will control. So if we know, because I know we spent a lot of time getting that use chart right, so we're just going to
That's
add that, that way if it's in there, because otherwise we could be, going back and multiple times, and we're really here to the sticking point.
Y'all are so close, I'm so excited.
I would like to say, Jesse, great job. Really appreciate you
You're welcome.
putting a lot of time in. And also
I said I wasn't going to leave y'all when I
Commissioner
left
Diaz
the commission.
and the city staff as well.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks for everybody's help too, that helps me as well, so appreciate it.
I too add my thanks. I have some trepidation because I know the state legislatures in special session. No telling what they may add in there. And they yanked the rug out underneath us a couple of years ago, I believe it was. So, again, kudos, but I'm not celebrating yet until we get it done.
We're getting closer.
Until we get it done. Back to the agenda. Excuse me. Where am I now? Jesus. That's June. Oh, I lost my second page. 6. There it is, okay, yeah, I got it from there. We're at item number 6, the ordinance 210. which we discuss every month. We now have an ordinance, excuse me, we now have an opening. It happened late, and we had a citizen who's interested, but we couldn't get it on the agenda for this meeting, and it'll probably be pushed to the next meeting. We've already talked about Dave. Anybody else have anything to add about 210? Go ahead.
Wasn't a change made in city council about part of 210 having to attend to city council? Did you guys change that?
Yeah, so we put on the agenda for them to discuss the waiver that they had granted during COVID. And basically what they agreed, again, by consensus, to no longer do the waiver, but only for this year, they would make it one instead of 2 meetings.
Okay, but that's a change, so that.
Basically, they're just going back to enforcing ordinance 210. The waiver is no longer valid. Right, but there's also not wording in the ordinance where nothing happens if you don't, and so that's something that's being worked on changing some of the wording throughout the ordinance. So I wouldn't say that the ordinance has been changed because that hasn't happened yet, but it's in the works. But going back to how we were before this waiver was granted is what they chose to do.
Okay, but because it's July, they're only making one meeting applicable that you
Right.
have to attend, right?
Right, for this year, this calendar year.
Then back to the agenda. Item C, future agenda items. We'll await the guidance from city staff. That's number one. Anything else we want to add on there? We're going to have to go over some of the stuff that are standing. We're going to have to interview for a new commissioner. And what else are we going to have to do? When I said we're going to push. Jesus.
Chairman Miller,
Yes,
y'all may
ma'am.
have a couple of master plans to look at
Okay.
at your meeting in August.
Okay.
You will also discuss commission reappointments for anyone that is up at September 30th of 2021, because those need to go to council at council's September meeting. So if that is you, be thinking about whether you want to continue serving on the commission or not.
Okay. Anything else to add to the agenda? Then we'll move into item number 6, the citizen comment period. We have 2 citizens. Okay. You don't have to sign up for this. You can, it's ollie in free for this citizen comment period.
Hopefully, he's not regretting.
Then I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. Item number 7.
Motion to adjourn.
I've got a motion to adjourn. I need a second. I got a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 7:59. Thank you.
Actually, I am going to suggest that we change that language, and I'll shoot it to Kat, but what,